Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there tonight and have had yourselves a great day and a great week so far. I got you an update tonight, really discussing what's coming this week into early next week, as I'm expecting two big cold fronts, and I'm really eyeing that second one to really bring the chill, a real October chill for a lot of folks. Some areas who have not seen their first frost or freeze are certainly most likely going to be staring it down around this time next week. So we're going to talk about that, but in the very beginning of the video, we're going to discuss the tropics a little bit, because I wouldn't call it a surprise, but we had some, I would call it a surprise. You know, all of a sudden we had Tropical Storm Karl today in the Bay of Campeche. I mentioned that a piece of energy basically directly from Julia could sneak into areas of the Atlantic side, the Bay of Campeche, areas of the Gulf of Mexico, and potentially try to form, and it certainly did. And we have Tropical Storm Karl up there, and it's out there, and it actually looks pretty good. So we'll give you an update on that. I'm not expecting this to be a threat to the U.S., but we'll talk about what it looks like. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. It really goes a long way, and I really think we're in the beginning of a pretty slow period coming up over the next maybe couple months. I mean, we had a period over the summer where it got really slow, and it's just how it is in October and November. If there's no late season tropics or early season snowstorms or severe weather, I mean, there's really just not a lot to talk about. So, but we're going to continue to keep you guys updated. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, obviously please put those in the comments below. I write them all down. I pray over them every morning and in my quiet time, and I know a lot of other people will pray over it also. So let's get rolling here. Let's take a look at the National Hurricane Center. We have Tropical Storm Karl out there. It's taking the K name. I mean, obviously, you know, this is going to be that hurricane season that's remembered because of one storm, and that is Ian. But outside of Ian, you know, it really has not been super active. It really hasn't. Certainly is going to fall well short of that hyperactive hurricane season that was originally predicted, which is good news. Good news, guys. And guys, that's why I don't make seasonal forecasts. I mean, there was a lot of people that kind of asked for my opinion back in March, April, and May about, are you going to do a hurricane prediction of this coming hurricane season? I said no. And it's the same thing with winter, guys. You know, people are wondering, are you going to drop a winter weather forecast for this coming winter? How much snow do you think my area is going to get? Guys, I'm not trying to diss on anybody who does what I do on YouTube, but those other videos that you might watch, those are literal shots in the dark. And they're not based off a whole lot. Yeah, you can look at El Nino, La Nina, a neutral year. You can look at all that until the cows come home. But at the end of the day, I just don't think there's enough weather history for us to really accurately predict a season out. We can barely predict weather 2 weeks out. So, yeah, we can give ideas, but at the same time, if I say, hey, we're going to get a winter storm in South Carolina in January, I mean, I would say there's a good maybe 30 to 40% chance I'll probably be right. And then if I am right, I'm like, whoa, this guy predicted a winter storm in South Carolina. But really, I didn't. It was just a guess, you know, so I know I just rambled there for about a minute and a half. But anyways, you got Tropical Storm Karl out here. It's a 40-mile-per-hour storm. Literally, this is what it's expected to do. It's going to continue to develop, probably strengthen somewhat, try to head north, and then what happens is basically a diving cold front gets all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, and that tropical system says nope and heads right back towards Mexico, and that's why you have tropical storm watches up for the Atlantic coastal sides of Mexico. And I don't think this is going to be a huge deal for you guys, but listen, I could see this being really sneaky and becoming a hurricane. I mean, the water temperatures down here are very favorable. The wind pattern aloft will be favorable for a little bit. So we'll watch this, but I can tell you, here's what Karl looks like right now. It looks like a healthy tropical storm. And if you were to, and this is Texas up here, and if you keep moving north, obviously this is Florida, Cuba. And if you keep moving north, you'll see Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, and Georgia. If you were to show me this and did not tell me what was going on pattern-wise in the U.S., I would be worried. I'd be like, well, dang, that looks like that's going to turn to a hurricane and head right towards the Gulf Coast. And most do head north, but this is going to continue to inch north and then actually move back southwest into Mexico. We would not want this getting into the Gulf of Mexico. As we saw what 2020 did, where we had multiple tropical systems in October. Let's not get this to do that. So this is what Karl looks like as we're getting into overnight tonight. As you can tell, that millibar number drops, indicating a deepening storm. It deepens, might get all the way to a sub 1,000 millibar low pressure, and then it just heads right back into Mexico. It's not a big deal, so we're thankful for that. So let's go on and switch subjects here and talk about this cold front that's moving through right now. There's a marginal risk between now and tomorrow morning, still up. There's a marginal risk for severe weather that is basically driven off a 5% chance of hail and damaging winds, but I don't think this is going to be a big deal. But we'll take a look at the HRRR model and really see how this could potentially unfold overnight. Still dealing with those showers that move through Chicago, continuing to see showers in Chicago this afternoon and evening. These will continue to move into the Detroit area. I'm getting my D's messed up there. And then move into northern areas of Michigan. And then even down into Chicago, you guys will still continue to see showers. And then sometime into the wee hours of the morning tonight, you're going to have an area of convection that really pops up here, really all the way from the south central U.S. all the way to the UP of Michigan. Now, some of these could produce some small hail. There's going to be some cold air aloft working in the upper levels of the atmosphere behind this cold front. So, this might be enough to drop a little bit of hail, maybe some damaging winds with the mixing in the atmosphere. But overall, guys, I just really don't think this is going to be a big deal at all for really anybody. So, moving forward here, if we keep this moving, I think just more widespread rains moving to Michigan and then Indiana, Illinois into the morning hours. You're just going to be waking up to a rainy morning commute anywhere from the UP of Michigan all the way down to the Ohio Valley. And there might be some stronger storms up in the UP of Michigan. You folks got a couple people who watch from the UP of Michigan, and I think, honestly, you guys could wake up to a rumble of thunder or something. So we keep this moving here. Sorry about the hat here, guys. I know y'all don't care, but my hair is everywhere. I like to make sure my hair looks good for these videos. You got to present yourself well, but hat here today, my hair is overgrown. Anyways, we're not here to talk about hair or the weather, but, we keep it personal on this channel. So tomorrow, the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow, there's a marginal risk up, and this stretches from eastern areas of Texas, northeast Texas, through northern Louisiana, most of Arkansas, the entire central and western half of Tennessee, the entire central and northern areas of Mississippi, northern half, including Birmingham, of Alabama, and all the way up into areas of Kentucky and Ohio. There's going to be a tornado threat tomorrow. There's not going to be much in the way of kinematics, the wind energy you need for tornadic development and severe weather, and the thermodynamics. Basically, that is your heat, your moisture levels at the surface, things like that. There's not going to be a whole lot of either one, but basically where they overlap the best is where you're going to have your best tornado threat, and you are going to have a very small tornado threat. Tomorrow, you are for areas Kentucky, Tennessee, northern Alabama, areas of Mississippi, even into Ohio. There's a 2% risk of a tornado, 25 miles in any given location. Then there's a little bit of a wind threat and a hail threat also. So how could this unfold tomorrow? We'll start this off tomorrow morning. You're already getting some heavy rains in Alabama and areas of probably southeastern Mississippi. Already some showers moving through the upstate of South Carolina, the Piedmont, foothills, and mountains of North Carolina. But if you look back here, and by the way, this could be a lot of heavy rain that falls for Birmingham, points south of Montgomery. I've had a lot of people in the Alabama area say they haven't seen rain in several weeks. You're gonna get your rain tomorrow, and I think you can get a lot of it pretty quick. I mean, look at all this rain. This is around tomorrow afternoon, falling in Alabama, areas of western Georgia, Atlanta. And then you got a lot of moisture all the way down in Florida, pop-up showers and storms. This one moving to South Carolina to the later afternoon, evening hours. But these are the storms up here you got to watch a little bit later tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. They could produce damaging winds, hail, and a very small tornado threat with some of these. So just be careful. And then maybe a line of storms gets going along the initial actual cold front right here that could sweep through in the overnight hours tomorrow through Tennessee, Mississippi, into Alabama, and then weekend overnight tomorrow night as it approaches Birmingham in the middle of the night tomorrow night, not tonight. But this is a nice little wave of rain that moves through areas of Georgia, the Carolinas, northern Georgia tomorrow evening into tomorrow night, and then this rain's making it all the way into West Virginia. Listen, all these areas need rain. Everybody does. It's been so dry with so many dry cold fronts that's been moving through, not really producing any rain. This is going to be one that's not dry, and this will bring waves of rain for the entire southeast, mid-Atlantic, and then especially the northeast, which I think will see the most rain. Rainfall between now and Thursday evening, there's going to be an area right here in southern Alabama somewhere that's going to get a couple inches of rain, I think, between now and then. And then there's going to be another area I want to watch right here in the upstate of South Carolina, northeast Georgia, and the Piedmont, North Carolina, that could see kind of an enhancement of rain. Maybe an inch or two of rain is certainly possible. But, of course, you get up here into New England, and we're going to stretch this out all the way until about next Monday afternoon. I think you'll get widespread accumulating rains up here in the northeast for sure. So if you need rain, that's something to look forward to. Let's talk about temperatures. So we'll start this off around Thursday afternoon, or Thursday afternoon, evening. This is high temperatures for this coming Thursday afternoon. Notice you're in the 50s from Tennessee points north where the cold front moves through. I'm sorry, no, this is wrong. My bad, guys. So these are high temperatures for Thursday. So 60s in Tennessee, 60s in Kentucky, but 50s in the Ohio Valley, only in the 40s for highs for the Great Lakes regions, the north central U.S., and, warming all the way up into the 90s in areas of Texas, 80s in the deep south, along the Gulf Coast. And then this cool cold front moves through. You wake up Friday morning to a nice crisp air mass again. The humidity is going to rise in the southeast, and for even along the I-95 corridor all the way up into the northeast. Humidity will rise until the cold front moves through, but then you'll wake up Friday morning for a lot of folks, and it'll feel really nice. And then Friday will be a cool day, even all the way into the southeast. But where this cold front really doesn't dig in the south central U.S., you're going to warm back up. Dallas, close to 90 degrees, unfortunately. Unless you like 90 degrees in October, then it's not unfortunate for you. But highs, Friday only up in the 30s, potentially, for the northern areas of Wisconsin, UP and Michigan, northern Minnesota. But what's crazy about Minnesota, look, you're in your 30s Friday for highs in northern Minnesota, but in the southern areas of Minnesota, maybe in the 50s and 60s. So there's a big tight boundary of temperatures. Then we get into Saturday morning. You can already see this other cold front moving in before this other air mass even clears out. So you're waking up Saturday morning. I think you could have lows in the 50s, maybe all the way to just north of Tampa. But definitely a chilly air mass, but nothing unusual to what we've already seen this year. We've already seen some chilly mornings, but this is the weather right here coming. And quickly we'll go on and warm back up, already all the way back into the 70s, all the way up to Washington, D.C., maybe New York City for your Saturday. So it's still dry, but you're already warming back up ahead of this next cold front. And it's warming up substantially in the south central U.S., the Mississippi Valley. These are regions right here. But then here you go. You're getting into Sunday morning. This cold front's moving through. I think it's trending a little bit quicker, but you're waking up Sunday morning back into the 30s. Probably widespread frost and freeze in the Ohio Valley. But of course, you're not quite as chilly Sunday morning for the southeast, and you're certainly still very warm in the south central U.S. But here comes this cold front moving through, and then you get into Monday morning, and then you're waking up with temperatures that are much more chillier further south in the mid-south, the 40s, 30s for the mid-Atlantic regions and the interior northeast. And then we move into Tuesday morning, and this is when it can get downright chilly for areas even of the southeast. We got low 50s all the way to the Gulf Coast. You got widespread freezes across the Ohio Valley, downright very chilly conditions, basically in the Great Lakes region and the north central U.S., the Midwest. And look at these 40s getting all the way down to the Carolinas, deep into Georgia. And then look at these potential high temperatures. As we're getting into Tuesday, high temperatures might struggle to get out the 50s for North Carolina, Tennessee, points north. This is a really strong cold front, guys. And then we get into Wednesday morning, and I think we get maybe our first widespread frost, even outside the mountainous regions in the south. So a very chilly temperatures and a chilly day looking for next Wednesday. But this is getting pretty far out, but it looks like, and I mean, look, next Thursday morning, temperatures in the 30s, all the way down to central South Carolina. So the cold air just keeps coming, guys. It really does. And I mean, the troughing just keeps coming. It really does. You look as far as precipitation. With this second cold front, I really think this is going to really kickstart the lake effect snow machine in areas of Lake Superior, off Lake Superior, and then Lake Michigan. I mean, I think you'll get your first lake effect snow bands even in Erie, Pennsylvania, off Lake Erie. Go on and expect that. I mean, that's pretty early, especially for these southern lakes right here, these southern Great Lakes. I mean, it's really looking like you're going to get cold enough air to move across these still pretty warm Great Lakes to really kickstart some lake effect moisture. And a lot of this looks like it could be potentially snow. So very interesting. And then look at this low riding low pressure as we're getting about 9 to 10 days out. I'd tell you, if you had a little bit of cold air around and it was January, could be a winter storm for the southeast. So one thing we know for sure, between the 17th and the 21st, well below average temperatures predicted for the eastern U.S. It's going to be very interesting. I'm camping, not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm starting to wonder if it's going to be extremely cold up there, but I'm down for it. I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. But thank you all for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. And I'll have you an update in the morning. God bless.